Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything looks like it's working. I'm here, I'm live, and welcome. I'm sorry I was not here last week. I could not peel myself off the floor to save my life, but I'm here today. And a couple weeks ago, it was May 4th, 10 days ago actually. So May the 14th be with you. No, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it? Well, anyways, I was at a small convention. It was at Rancho Cordova City Hall. Kind of nice place to have it. They have a grand staircase. It's fancy. But I was at this convention and I ran a DIY workshop where we made painters' tarps into Jedi robes. This is the one I made there. It's not perfect, but I made it in like 5 minutes, so I think that's pretty darn good. And all I used was hot glue and a painter's tarp. So I figured this week we could do this together. So all you will need is this is a 4-foot by 12-foot canvas drop cloth. Shiny. I like the 4-foot by 12-foot, but if you are a 6-foot plus human being, this should work a-okay. This is a men's size extra large dress form. This is Kevin. This is the dress form Odin and I made quite a few years ago. Anyways, there's a tutorial on how to make this dress form on Odin Makes channel where I help him make that. But anyways, you don't need a dress form. All you need is the drop cloth. You need a drop cloth and hot glue and a pair of scissors. That's all we use to make these things. So if you can, don't pause this because, this is the future. Just pull this video up again once you get your stuff. I already have it up. I'm not going to open another one. Okay, so we have our giant drop cloth. It's actually not that wide, but it is wide enough. Look, it is. Let me get a camera. It's wide enough to go from my wrist to my wrist. It's this wide. See? Which is the perfect length for my sleeves. And it will give like 3/4 sleeves on a full grown size. But at this workshop we had children, as I believe a dad turned 1 drop cloth into 2 drop cloths for his 2 little kids that were like under 5. So I feel like that's the smallest size we did with this drop cloth. And then the largest size we did was about this size, a size extra large at this particular workshop. So I've seen it on a few different various sizes. This is a kind of make your own thing, so we aren't using exact measurements. We are going, it's this big, and this is the bigness. This is the width that we're working with. You can always hem it down and make it shorter, and there are ways to make it longer, but we don't really have to deal with that right now today. So with a 12-foot drop cloth, when you fold it in half, it's 6 feet on either side. So if you are over 6 feet tall, you can leave it as that length if you want a floor length rope. If you're not, like me and most people, I don't know. In my head, I feel like most people are under 6 feet, and there's less people that are over 6. Anyways, This one I did about knee length. The length doesn't particularly matter. Just cut it about this much longer than you want yours to be. Why this much longer? Because you're probably going to use this much for your hemline, and you need about this much just extra in general. You need it to be about that much longer than you think you do, in my opinion. So cut it out about this much bigger. This is not an exact science. So my mistake was I tried tearing the fabric at the con, but that is not a good idea with this drop cloth, where although it does tear straight of grain, it tears easily both grain lines, so it just tears too easily. You're going to be a lot happier if you use your scissors. So step 1, figure out how long you want to make it, and this much longer than you think it should be. So I have it folded in half. And ouch. My science of how I'm going to do this. Okay, so I have it kind of marked where I want an ever so slightly larger. Careful about tearing it. Using scissors is a much better idea. Okay, very important. Take the side that is not the side you're working with and put it out of range so you don't accidentally grab it. Okay? Because you now have 2 rectangles. One's the right size and one's the wrong size. So we have our right size rectangle. It has, all the edges are finished. So your wrist edges, whoops, sorry. It's the salvage edge, and it's just a really nice clean edge that's not going to pull apart. Your hem, this one has a tag in it, let me rip that off, has nice double stitching that's all finished. Other side has a finished salvage edge. Now the only edge that isn't finished is the edge that we cut or tore. And if we don't do anything to this, we can keep unraveling it and unraveling it and unraveling it, which has a very nice look to it, but it's going to keep unraveling and unraveling. So let me get some hot glue hot here. Turn on this hot glue gun, and I'll turn on this one too. Why 2 hot glue guns? Because I'm impatient. Okay. So step 1, tear your fabric at the length you want it. Step 2, we are going to finish this edge. You don't need to draw a line or anything, but you need to decide what your outside fabric is and what's your inside fabric. There's no right or wrong side on this drop cloth. So it doesn't matter. You just have to kind of decide which is your outside, because you're going to fold all of your stuff so that your folds, your seams, and all the ugly stuff are going to go on the inside. So you just want to keep it consistent. So this has a really weird hem to it. It's double stitched. It's not the perfectest because it's a drop cloth, but it's a finished side. And there's a loopy side and there's a stitch side. The stitch side is my right side. The loopy side goes on the back. So I'm just going to decide that, and I'm going to take it and fold it in half. Whoops. Wrong corner. So that my right sides are together. And I have a piece of fabric folded in half. we are not going to use the sewing machine today, so let me pull this out of, excuse me, Chuck. Shut. My studio is utter chaos today. But that means I've been making fun things, so there's that. Okay. Now that I have my sandwich, I am going to fold up my edge and hot glue it down. All the way down my whole edge. Do I have hot glue that's hot yet? No, hot glue's not hot. But I have glue sticks, so there's that. No, these are fabric scissors. They're my most heavy-duty scissors, but they are fabric, so we will not use them on my plastic. Oh, good morning, Dan Does Junk. Welcome. Still cleaner than my space, I'm sure. When I went to go live this morning and I walked down here, I was like, oh, dang. I was being creative yesterday. Let's just say that. So, utter chaos, but fun chaos. Okay. So, drop cloths smell funky. They are the bottom weight cotton. They are raw cotton, which gives it really good texture, and it gives it that it's easy to age and look a lot of good texture. Okay? And these drop cloths. See, if I told you, if we don't finish this edge, it's just going to keep peeling and peeling and peeling. Great texture. So we're going to fold this up because remember we have the right sides together. So we're going to take this and we're going to fold it to the inside. So this is our wrong side, and we're going to fold up the entire edge and just smoosh it down with the hot glue. Oh look, hot glue is getting hot. And all you do is just do a bead along the edge. It's not hot enough. I'm so impatient. And you smoosh it all the way along the edge. There's no, it depends on how much you leave. I said leave this much, and I'm folding it up about a half an inch. Like I said, it's always about this much shorter than you really think it ought to be, so doing this much gives you wiggle room. You could measure it and do an exact measurement, but this is a DIY drop cloth Jedi Robe. This one hot yet? This one has glitter glue in it because I bought all of the hot glue that the dollar store had for this workshop. And that included their glitter glue. I kind of want to do silver, but I'm going to do red. It has red in it. Okay, we're going with red glitter. We're not going to see the hot glue. So, it doesn't matter. I can use my sparkly hot glue if I want. Okay, let's see. Is my hot glue hot yet? Let's try. All right. Smoosh and smoosh. Okay. Hot glue's hot enough. No, it's not. I'm so impatient. It's okay. I can at least set myself up for success versus failure. Get it all lined up, ready to go. Smoosh that out of my way now so I don't have to do it later. All I have to do is glue the edge up and smoosh it. And there's already a line to follow. Oh, look at this one's hot. Yes. I like this little hot glue gun. It gets hot really fast. The big hot glue gun stays hot, but the little gun heats up quickly. You smoosh it and you smoosh it and you smoosh it all the way down. I don't like the smell of that glitter glue, hot glue. It's a little funky. Okay. If your hot glue's hot when you start, this will go a lot quicker than it just did for me, but okay. So I have the whole edge folded up and hot glued. I used red glitter hot glue. You cannot see it. It looks nice and clean. It looks nice and flat. None of it's gooing out. And I have a finished edge. Okay, so step 1, cut it to the right length. Step 2, finish the bottom edge that you cut. Step 3, fold it in quarters. It's in half. Quarter. So we have it in a quarter. This is where our neck is going to go. This is our sleeve right here. And our feet go down through the bottom. On this drop cloth, there are fold lines from its packaging because it was folded like this in the package, so there's a line right here. I use that as my guideline. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it is what I used for this guy, and it fit the general size. So to make life easy, this line right here, this fold line that you can kind of see in the light, is going to be our reference point. And just to kind of give you a general sense, this is one of my many broken measuring tapes. I pulled them out the other day because I pulled this monstrosity out, which is a dress made out of measuring tapes. And so I have all the extra measuring tapes from that aren't the right size. Okay, here's an actual real measuring tape. Okay. So I want to do a sleeve. The tiniest I can go is about 6 inches around my wrist. We ain't going to move. We're not going to be able to bend. We're not going to be able to do that. That is not a realistic measurement. 12 inches, that's just going to be able to get my hand in and kind of through. But up here, it's going to start to get really tight. So just kind of get an idea of how wide you kind of want it. I think I did that about 20 inches. I just eyeballed it. But to give you a sense of how wide it should be, 20 inches circumference, so about 10 inches down. Let me see how wide I did this arm. I did it at 12 inches, so that's from the shoulder to the underarm. And it's both sides, so it would add up to 24 circumference. So half of that would be 12. Okay. Step 3 was folded into quarters. We oriented. This is our neckline. Our hands come out. This not folded side. So folded side is our center front, center back, and where our neck is at the top. And there's a fold line at this. So like the Princess Leia costume that I did, where I didn't do a seam at the top, we're not going to do a seam at the top of this robe. We're just going to leave it folded. So we're going to measure 12 inches down from the wrist, come into this line, and draw from this line straight down to the hemline, or you can taper it out at an angle to the hemline if you want to make it a fuller skirt. I'm not particularly worried about that, so I'm just going to make it a complete easy rectangle. And let me draw it on this for you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about before we start cutting. My pen's right here. Feeling blue. Okay. So about 12 inches down. Here's my measuring tape. 12. Ta-da! Neckline, I drew in a semicircle about 2 inches down, 3 inches out, so it'll be like 6, and it's a good place to start. It keeps it narrow. You can always trim it shorter, and you can keep it straight in the back. It's not a big, you don't have to like curve it. You can completely cut it smaller, and then you can always cut it larger once you get it cut out and tried on. But keep it on the smaller side when you start, as a pro tip, just because you're going to figure it out. I measured down from my arm to make my sleeve and towards that fold line, and then that fold line, I told you could go straight down to the hem, or you can taper it out at an angle. At an angle. So let me just lay this down. Now that we have it figured out, you can just cut it out. You don't even have to draw it out, but it's easier for you guys to see what I was doing if I did. Cut through all 4 layers of fabric. If your scissors suck, do it 1 layer at a time. If you have good chompers, you can cut it all out at the same time. Okay, so we have these pieces that we just cut off. Put those to the side. Again, if with your other fabrics so that it is not mixed in with the piece you just cut. And we have, ta-da, our robe. So before we cut out the neckline, we're going to open it up. And we are going to hot glue the underarm seams. So keeping it folded in half, don't open it up any more than this. We are going to lay it flat, and we are going to hold on 1 second. So we are going to take our hot glue and we are going to, between the two pieces of fabric, this underarm seam we just did, keeping it in within a 1/2 inch. Don't get too crazy with your glue. And you are just going to sandwich it and smoosh it together. That's all you're going to do. So, is this one ready? Yes, okay. So, all along the edge, keeping it folded together so it stays the way you just cut it out. So they should line up because they were cut out together. They're still together. Hot, 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 hot. Hot things are hot, people. Smoosh and you smoosh and you smoosh and you smoosh. Underarm seam, just hot glued together. And now I'm going to do all the way down to the hem too. Big Bad Wolf, custom airbrushing and decals. Welcome. Morning, your top's white thread is bugging the OCD in me, LOL. White thread? Do I have white thread on me somewhere? Probably. There's thread everywhere. This stuff gets everywhere. Anyways. Miss Jackson! Hello, Adrian. How are you doing? Welcome. Okay, so let me hot glue all the way down the edges. Don't need a lot. You do need some. Just keep it in that 1/2 inch and go all the way down the edges. Can't work that fast, do small sections. Hot, 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 hot. You smoosh it, you smoosh it, you smoosh it. Now, this side's been hot glued. This side has not yet. Let's see. Not hot glued, hot glued. And you just use, the hot glue is the peanut butter in the sandwich, and the fabric's the bread. Keep it in a straight line. Should be fairly simple. Now, if you don't want to hot glue, you can actually just use a sewing machine and do a straight stitch instead of doing the hot glue. But we are doing this with a hot glue and a painter's tarp. So this is, you can go to Harbor Freight and pick up everything you need and then come home and make this. You smoosh it and you smoosh it and you smoosh it. Hot! Hot glue's hot. Now, if you pop any seams after making this, you can either hot glue them back together, or you can also use a iron and just smoosh the hot glue, and it will just smash back down. Okay, now also if you want to take this robe and you go, I hot glued this together and I really like it and I would like to make a sewn version of this, you can, of course, just easily make a new one out of a drop cloth and sew it. Or if you really want to remove the hot glue, silicone spray will pop it right off. You won't be able to re-hot glue it again ever again, but it'll pop the hot glue off even if you smoosh it into the fibers like crazy. Good question, Dan. Does junk? Could you sew it after it's hot glued? No. Your sewing machine is not going to really enjoy going through hot glue. It will break your needles. I broke a needle on my finger this week, so it's not like it doesn't happen, even to the best of us. So like it's a fight because you have just added a thick layer of hot glue. That needle's not going to want to go through that, and your fabric, it's not going to happen. So once, like, you can sew anything, but then once you decide to hot glue, you're on hot glue. You're not in sewing. It's okay. They're both valid, but you can always hot glue something you've sewn. You can't always sew something you've hot glued. But you can glue it together with a glue stick to hold it in place. And those glue sticks are fine to sew through. Quilters use them all the time, just the regular school glue sticks. If you need to use those to temporarily hold it together while you do it in the sewing machine, your sewing machine can go through that glue and it's not going to make a mess. And then there's Eileen's tacky spray. That stuff you can like kind of glue things together and then throw it through the sewing machine, and it's not going to gunk up your machine. Industrial glues and other stuff like that I don't recommend because I don't want to gunk up my machine. But good question. Miss Jackson is saying, doing good. I love that you are sewing with hot glue. Yes, we're just doing it. It's going to look good. It's going to hold together. It's going to be fun. And every skill level was able to do this. We did it from kids to grown adults and people who don't craft to people who do. People who do kind of know what they're doing and didn't need much guidance. People who didn't, they did A-okay. So we have it glued together, but it's just a sack right now because there's not a place to put your head through and there is not a center front opening. So we still have the fold lines from the package. There's a fold line that goes down the center front. We're going to follow that line and cut all the way up to our neckline. It was a crazy, chaotic mess that this workshop is at the moment. I know where everything is. Only the front, not the front and the back. If you accidentally cut through the back, just glue it back together, overlap them, do a bead of hot glue, but only cut through the front. Ta-da! Now, I am just going to cut out the front kind of circle and kind of keep it flat in the back because I like the way it hangs better for me. I'm going to cut out the side that I drew out and then I'm going to fold it over, cut out the side that I drew, and then I'm going to fold it over and then cut it out the rest of the way. And ta-da! At this point you can wear it. I always try it on as soon as the point that you can wear it because that's how I am and I'm crazy like that. Pretty good about guessing my neckline. I went straight across the back, but I came down. So, pretty happy with that. This wraps around the front. Ta-da! Okay, it's not finished yet because look at all these raw edges. This is going to peel and be not nice, and we are still inside out because these are our hot glued seamed. When we turn it right side out, they'll be pretty and you won't even know it's hot glued. But we're not turning it inside out yet because we have to keep it this way. So we fold everything like this because this is our inside. So what step are we on? Step 1 was fold it in half and cut it to the right length. Step 2 was fold it in quarters. Wait, glue the bottom, fold it in quarters, cut out the rectangle, slice up the front, cut out the neckline. Now we are going to finish off the front edge by folding over the edge and hot gluing it. I'm going to do the center front first before going around the neckline because the neckline's the tricky part. And the center front is just a straight line. So I'm going to do the straight line first on both sides, and then we will do the neckline after that. Big Bag Wolf custom airbrushing. More threads now. Oh, it's going to get so much worse. So much worse because this stuff just, after the workshop, there was threads all over the floor. It was insanity. But everybody had a good time. And I know I shouldn't be wearing black, but I was feeling it. All right, a little more. This edge has been smooshed. Super flat, super easy. I'm just eyeballing it. You can draw a line if you want to follow a line, but it's not too tricky. This is a simple woven fabric. It's going to fold easily on the line. Believe it or not, painter's tarps are super easy to work with as a fabric, as a woven fabric. Look at these people. Danda's junk. Yeah, you and Odin made an awesome mess. I know, I went first. My workshop was first, and then it was Odin's. And I looked around, I looked after my workshop, and there were threads everywhere, just around the whole table. There wasn't a hot glue mess. There wasn't a paint mess. It wasn't that bad, but there was just, they definitely have to vacuum after using a painter's tarp for this project. But what's really nice is that little kids were able to do this. So this is a great kids' Halloween costume that they can probably make themselves. I don't know how your kid is with the hot glue gun, you know, but hot glue isn't the only option. Like I said, you can do a craft glue. You'll have to wait for it to dry. I don't know how your patience is, but craft glue is also a valid option. You just have to make sure your edges are finished, because this will unravel otherwise. Oh, I see all this. Okay. Lots of strings. Smooshing, smooshing, smooshing. Okay. Before I do the neckline, I am going to turn it inside out and try it on because I can. So, I am tangled in a giant piece of thread. Hold on. Look it. This is the edge. Can you tell it's hot glued? No, you can't, because it's a good finished edge. See? center front. Ha! That's hilarious. I folded one to the inside and one to the outside. Oh well. It's not the end of the world because I was planning on finishing this edge ever so slightly differently. But this is why you have to pay attention to what your right side is and the wrong side is. So I'm just going to laugh at that for the moment. Okay. Now I can, on this one, I just kind of folded over the edge and I smooshed it. The fibers don't necessarily want to do that, but you can just kind of smoosh it and they will make them. You can also kind of clip around the corners and fold it over like you would like a piece of cardboard so that it goes easily. But I want to do a so like a gi or the other Jedi robes where they have the thick band that lines the whole edge. I want to do that to finish this edge a little bit better. But at this point, this is where your creativity gets to come from. Okay, are you going to turn this into Obi-Wan like I did here? Are you going to turn it into whichever of the many characters, layers, under layers you want, but this is the basics and the starts? I could be Yoda from here, you know? You have options. This is where your creativity comes in, and a lot of people did a lot of different things, and it got really fun. I kind of feel like Luke Skywalker for this one, you know, when he's hanging out with his aunt and uncle drinking his blue milk. He has that kind of oversized outfit. So I'm going to finish the edge with the thick band, but the thick band would also go with this guy. So this is where you have to go back and grab all those scraps that I threw over there, because now we're going to use them to make all the different bits and pieces that we want, which is the fun part. So Big Bad Wolf custom airbrushing and decals. I'm the type of guy who does the dishes while I cook. Drives my wife crazy. You know what? I like it when I'm in that headspace. My headspace hasn't been there. I am in chaotic creativity phase at the moment. But yeah. Thank you, Adrian. It looks so nice, doesn't it? It's fun. Honestly, I think you could get one. I think you probably could get 3 out of 1 drop cloth, 1 for each of the kiddos, because they're little still, aren't they? I don't know. Just a fun project. Ta-da! Yeah, let me go get my scraps. They're right over there, and we'll play. I shouldn't have thrown them. I know better now. Hold on, I just built on my computer. That is not a good thing. Where is a rag? It's okay, I'm only live. Oh no, oh no. Ah! Chaos ensuing. I'm okay. I just spilled my coffee on my stuff. Luckily, nothing was destroyed in the process. It just barely missed this project right here. That's okay. I have a giant piece, and I have these rectangles that I cut off. For this belt, you could take one of these pieces, pre-gather it, and glue it to another piece that you cut in half to make the ties, to make it long enough. But I know this is too short because it's the inner side. I want the whole length of the thing, so I'm going to use this giant piece right here. And I think I want it about this thick. And if I go down on both of the edges, I have a clean edge on this side, and I'll have an ugly side. I'll have one finished edge and one not finished edge, and I can fold it over and glue it to finish. So everything's pretty, so I don't have to fold it and fold it. Scissors. Danda's Junk. So simple and has so many applications, right? How many different characters can you do with this? So many. And the thing is this is 100% cotton. It's purely dyeable. You can make it any color. It's a painter's drop cloth. You can paint this. You can spray paint it. You can easily change the color as you need to. Spray paint may make it crunchy. Not the worst. I can't 100% say it's machine washable if you hot glue it, but I just wouldn't stick it in the dryer. You could throw it in the machine, and if it does like pop a seam, like I said, an iron, hot glue gun, it's not the end of the world. So it's machine washable but not dryable. If you stitch it with the sewing machine, it would be 100% washable. Okay. All right, I have one side. Let me do the other side. How wide is this so I can pretend I did it the same? It's that wide, okay. I have not done a single measurement on this project. Oh wait, I lied. I measured the arm, but when I did this, I just eyeballed it. You don't have to measure. You can literally just lay a t-shirt down. Understand that a t-shirt stretches, and if it fits you perfectly, it's going to be on the smaller side, so add about this much to either side of your measurement. If you have a quarter, just add this much, but this side's, because 6 inches positive ease is going to give you comfortable so 3 inches of ease gives you breathing room. 6 inches of ease gives you wiggle room. And it feels like that's a lot, but it's not that much. That's just a good kind of keep in your head number going, oh, if I add this much, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? So, okay. Michael Snow, welcome. Hello, I'm sad that I'm late. Well, you're here, so welcome. 45th Clown, hello everyone. Welcome, 45th Clown. Okay. So I have 2 strips and I know where they're at. Be careful when you're working on strips. Like I said, all these fabric pieces look like scraps. So got to keep track of which scraps are scraps and which ones are your pattern pieces. So I have my 2 big long rectangles and one no longer inside out Jedi Robe. So we turned it to the right side out. It's no longer inside out. the hot glue seams are on the inside. I'm gonna lay it down in front of us. And just see if this is long enough. Hold on, let me see. If I start at the bottom and go all the way to the top, and then I can go around the neckline and meet in the middle. Okay, I'll be fine. They're both long enough. I didn't pre-measure because this is just fun. Okay. So I have my edge this one's the folded wrong side. I did it the inside out way because I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to take this piece of fabric. Here is my not finished edge. See how it's fraying and peeling, especially since I cut it on the grain line. Now, if you want to do that as a feature, peel away. I think that's a fun little detail. This is a blouse that's how they finished the sleeve edges. This looks like a complete like peasant blouse, but it's like the brand is Cloth and Stone. So it's fancy and its edges are just frayed drop cloth. So it could be a feature, not a flaw. But anyways, I'm just going to fold it like this and hot glue it all the way down the edge of my drop cloth and hot glue it on both sides and just smoosh it all the way down. Starting at the bottom because I want this hem to be on this hem, and I want the pretty side that's not fraying to be on my outside and the ugly frayed side to be on the inside. And I think I'm going to put a bead of hot glue, smash it down, and then bead of hot glue and smash it down. So that is the plan right now. Let's use this hot glue gun because I've been liking it lately. This project. So you don't even have to fold over the edges if you're going to finish it with this, which is what I'm realizing, which is not a big deal. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic like that. But we're into the fun, decorate, play part, so it's fun, decorate, play time. So all I'm doing is I'm putting a bead of hot glue down this seam, and I am just smooshing this along the edge so that I can then, this is my right side, can come around and I can glue it down this way, but we're not there yet. Dan Does Junk says, it's perfect for any season because I take it to a con that Odin goes to because it's not far. It rained 100% each time we're both at a con. Yeah. Okay, let me glue this. It really doesn't take that long. I just have to actually do it. And the crazy amount of crafting, sewing I've done this week, I realized that I spend more time ironing than actually sewing, and that the difference between something looking DIY, homemade, and professional, the difference between a $10,000 gown and a $1,000 gown really is the pressing, the steaming. It's those little details. Like, it makes the biggest difference if you iron as you sew. Like, you want to look professional and nice, and you're like, why does this, like, it's just a straight seam, why doesn't it look nice? Like, that one looks, ironing, pressing. I used to think that impressive was like an ironing, like came from ironing, because the more pressed and impressive. I don't know. I'm making things up now at this point. But it makes a huge difference in how things look. Like, I will sew something, it'll look mid, and then I press it, and all of a sudden, that's what I was trying to make. All right. Now, normally I just kind of like smoosh it and just make it work, but I think I'm going to stay along this edge and just clip it a little bit so that I can make this go around the neckline easier, because we're going around a curve and we're hot gluing it, so it's not going to just unravel like crazy. Good question, 45th Clown. Does the hot glue go through the cloth weave? Yes and no. So it does get enmeshed with the weave of the cotton, and you can get so much hot glue when it's like really hot that it seeps through, but it doesn't really. I think the cotton thread soaks it up, and you don't really see the hot glue through the top of it, but it definitely gets very intertwined. And even with that crazy intertwined fabric, sorry, I can't talk and craft at the same time. Silicone spray will still get the hot glue out. So even if it's like really mooshed together and you're like, oh, this is not going to ever come apart, like I shouldn't have hot glued this, you can always silicone spray it, but then you can't re-hot glue it. You'll have to sew it from there. But just a random tip that I learned, and it's a game changer, especially if you get hot glue on like clothes that you like or something like that. Okay, I'm going to skip the neckline for the moment. I'm going to do the other side. Just get this all hot glued. But before I do, let me make sure. Okay. This is going to fold over here like this. Ooh, I don't even have to hot glue that down. That kind of looks nice folded. Okay, but I have to do it on this side now. And this is my inside. This is the one I did the wrong way. So I have to go along this edge. We'll go to this edge. I feel like patterning is like you have to make your puzzle and then you put it together, but it's a fun problem. Big Bad Wolf Custom Airbrushing. Felicia, is that a generic hot glue or a fabric glue? Look to have a blush tint. Maybe it's the TV. No, that is this glue gun, the little glue gun, has glitter glue in it at the moment. I have just dollar store glitter glue sticks. You can't see the glue through the fabric. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be using so much that it smooshes out to the edges, so I'm not really worried about using fun colored hot glue. So the little glue gun has colored hot glue, but my big glue gun has just regular hot glue in it. No, it's not fabric hot glue. And honestly, I'm not a fan of fabric hot glue. Working at the costume shop, we got fabric hot glue thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be great for these weird random applications, especially hat making and stuff. No, I hate that stuff. That stuff is terrible, but you know what it's amazing for? fixing our Easter bunnies. So Easter bunny heads, those mascot heads, apparently little kids punch them all the time. Like especially rented ones. Do not just show up and scare your kids with the mascot costume. You know, you tell them it's the Easter bunny, let them see it far away before approaching it. Anyways. I've had to fix a lot of Easter bunny costumes, and that fabric hot glue, it's not clear. It was the same white plastic, and then it would melt, and it would weld those plastic seams inside of those Easter bunny heads. Like, it was the best plastic weld to fix mascot heads. Random information, but fabric hot glue is amazing for welding plastics back together, like fixing cracks and stuff. Like, that stuff is like the best. But for actually like using on fabric, just use regular hot glue. I have opinions, apparently. Okay, I can hot glue. Michael Snell, do you know of a good way to remove hot glue from fabric? Yes, silicone spray. I don't want this one, I want this one. Silicone spray will make hot glue just pop right off, even if it's just smooshed into the fibers like we're doing now. It will get it right out. It even works with velvet and velour and those piled fabrics. But the caveat is, once you silicone spray it, you won't be able to hot glue it again, because now it'll have a silicone barrier that it will not adhere to. So just use that information for what it's worth. You smoosh it and you smoosh it and you smoosh it. Ooh, I wonder if that would work on 3D prints. I haven't really played with that too much. I cannot do two things at the same time right now. Okay, you smoosh it and you smoosh it. Oh yeah, I need more hot glue. Yeah, just dollar store glue sticks. Hot glue's hot. Okay. Now, where am I? I have two flappy things on either side. Sorry, let me put it down out of the way. Take this, and I'm going to fold it like this to make this edge all the way around. And I gotta fold this side like this. All the way around so that I have the two edges that are nice and finished. Alright, get those stupid strings off me. It's not the best, but okay. Let me do the neckline. I was avoiding it. Alright, let me glue this around the neckline. Just kind of smoosh it and smoosh it, and then you smoosh it. If I fold it, it's going to go like that, and then this is going to go like... Okay. If you're worried about going around the neck curve like I am, because I just don't want it to lay super duper funny, less is more. Keep it thin when it comes to the edges. Just make it as narrow as you can. All right, let me just... I just kind of smooshed it around my neckline. Now let me do the other side, and I'm meeting in the center back. And then I'll just overlap them and hot glue them together. So scientific. But the fun thing about this is you don't have to be perfect. It doesn't, like, you don't even really have to know what you're doing. You just kind of got to make it look like you think it needs to look like, and you glue it and you smoosh it. It is totally a DIY arts and crafts project. It should be fun. Okay, that really helped. I did little slices so that it went around the curve a little easier, and I think it really did help. So I'm just going to slice this. Michael Snell, just out of curiosity, are you much of a gamer? Not unless you count Animal Crossing. I like Zelda too. Like, I will just hours into that. Ocarina of Time specifically. Big Bad Wolf, custom airbrushing and decals. I used those color sticks to hold my PLA pieces before welding the parts together with acetone. Seems to hold really well. Sounds like the fabric sticks will work slightly better. Give it a try. I think that is a very great way to go about things. Oops. Okay, I think that's enough. Yeah, I don't think it's much bigger than that. All right. Michael Sam. Man, I would love to 3D print, but I'm broken. That's no joke, right? When you're crafting, you got to use what you have. The resources you have, as you have them. Smoosh it, and then you smoosh it. Okay. Hot! Hot things are hot, people. That still hasn't changed. But you gotta smoosh it and you gotta smoosh it. Alright. We met in the middle. Hey, they're the same length. And I'm just going to cut them right here. So, and then I'm just going to glue them together. This raw edge is going to smoosh to this raw edge. Ta-da! Oh wait, it's not hot. It's not dry yet. Okay, not to die yet. Okay. So now it's all attached. Am I going to glue it down again? like it just like that. I think my answer is no. Originally I was going to glue it all the way down flat. I lied. I like this side better because I made that mistake of folding it the wrong way initially. I can see that mistake, so I should glue it down. So. Okay. So, finished edge right here, piece that we glued to it. Now I'm going to fold it this way and glue it down all the way back up to the top and just do a bead of hot glue all the way down. So now, this is where I'm gluing it. Give you a reference. Doesn't that edge look so nice? It's hot glued. Shh, don't tell. It's a secret. No one needs to know. This was a really fun workshop. It was only an hour and a half long, and everybody had a finished robe by the end of it. So, honestly, it's a fun activity. Big Bag of Wolf custom airbrushing and decals. So fast, so cool. And thank you for de-threading. LOL. Yep. So once you got it into the basic robe shaped and all your edges are finished, then it's just decorating and turning it into whichever character you want it to be. I think that turned out really nice. Alright, let me do the other side. The cotton dust is starting to get to me. Michael Schnell, ever made a Zelda cosplay? What cosplays have you done? I made several Link cosplays. Okay, so working for Smosh, we did Zelda a few times. Jackie, oh my gosh, her name is falling out of my head. I forgot her last name, but she's a cosplayer. She made the Zelda, the Ganon, and Link costumes. But I got to, I would use them to, when I was costuming, so I worked with those ones a lot. I also made a Link costume, make several Links working at the costume shop. So I have a lot of experience doing Zelda and video game characters in general, because Smosh did a lot of video game characters. They did every video game ever, where I got to do a Chun-Li and a bunch of other fun games. So I've done a lot of costuming. I worked at a costuming shop. I worked for Smosh as their costume designer for half a decade. And I'm live getting a call right now. I'll call them back. But anyways, we're live. But I have not done Zelda as my own personal cosplay. But that one does sound like fun. Honestly, the cosplay that I want to do for Legend of Zelda is I want to be Navi. I think it'd be really fun to be a giant puffball with legs sticking out and like this. So being a little puffball with wings and going, hey, listen, hey, listen. I can't do the voice as good as she does, but, you know, I could just play it on my phone. We live in the future, you know? But my dream Zelda cosplay would be to be Navi. And I've thought of lots of different ways to do it, but I just haven't yet. Oops. Smoosh it, and you smoosh it, and you smoosh it. Hot, 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 hot. Hot glue's hot, people. You smoosh it, you smoosh it. Okay. Okay. Look how pretty that edge is. Inside, outside. And I want it light. So on that one, I wanted a really thick belt because that's Obi-Wan. This one is Luke Skywalker in my head. So I think he just has a tie, and it's about a little thicker than a gi belt. I think I wanted about 4 inches when I'm done, so let me cut it about 8 inches. But again, it's all just about. That looks about right. 45th Clown. Some libraries have 3D printers. Also search makerspaces. Yeah, the Sacramento Library was in the process of getting a really good makerspace right before the pandemic hit. But I haven't seen any updates post-pandemic. I really should put this thread away so I stop tangling myself up in it. Michael Snow. Navi would be super cute, especially if you could make it light up. I know, right? We live in the future, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities, which is fun. Okay, now I could just leave this like this and use this as my tie because it's valid. But since I did it wide, I am going to fold it in half and glue it around along this edge. All the way down the edge, just a straight edge. Okay. The reason I really like ripping my fabric versus cutting it, if I have the option, is because I know it tears straight of grain. So I know that my torn edge is a straight of grain edge, and I can easily line up my pattern pieces and know they're going to fold on the line and everything's going to be you know what I mean? Where if I cut a straight line, although it looks straight to me, it doesn't mean anything, especially if your fabric decides that your line isn't straight. Does the fabric? It doesn't have a mind. It does. Sometimes fabrics have minds of their own. Can't explain it. But that's why crafting's hard. Smoosh it and smoosh it. hot, 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 hot glue's hot. Okay. Smoosh it and you smoosh it and you smoosh it. So hot glue or sewing faster, honestly, about the same. One's not faster than the other and one's not necessarily easier than the other. They're just different. And for this project, they both work. Hot, 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 hot glue's hot. Aw, thank you, Big Bad Wolf Custom Airbrushings and Decals. You always rip the straightest lines, LOL. Yeah, that's just the way fabric works. Except for when I'm in a bad mood, then sometimes it will just go in the complete other grain direction, just because. I feel like when I sew, if I am in a bad mood, it shows. So I can't really. Okay. Craft and be all upset because it'll just get worse and worse. Alright, so I glued all the way down the edge and made a tube. Now I can leave this tube like this and use it as my tie. Again, valid, but look at this ugly edge. This is our seam. So what I can do is I can just flip it inside out. I wish I had a stick. Here, I'll use this. I'm just gonna have to turn it inside out the hard way. But you just turn it inside out. So impatient. Okay, it is right side out. And look at that. This is the quote-unquote sewed edge or glued edge. And I have a clean tube. Stick this through the iron and make it look really impressive, but it's enough to do it in one big tie in the front. Looks like a bathrobe. But Luke Skywalker. Or it look like I'm ready to go drink some blue milk. This is the nail that I stabbed through the sewing machine. Okay. Michael Snell, are these robes for yourself, commission, or something else? Well, this robe was my robe that I made during the DIY workshop where we made the robes and I walked people through the steps. This is the one that I made while I was helping everybody else make theirs. This is the one that I made to show you guys. Will these make it to a con? Not necessarily on me. I probably won't wear these anywhere anytime soon because I would probably wear my Princess Leia one before I wore these geese. But I just made these as an example for you guys. So I hope you guys can make something fun that you can come up with your own robes. I want to see what you guys kind of come up with yourselves. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna call it. This is done. Edges are all finished. Let me. Some solution. I left the collar a little popped because I feel like they always have the bigger collars. So, it's a robe. Oh, and here's my tie. Yes, we have ties, we have layers, we have robes. It's the fun part. Okay, so project's done. Glue guns are off, and I am going to call it a day. Before I do, I wanted to tell you guys that, you guys remember Toby? He passed away last week, and it's kind of devastated me, and I'm not doing okay. I'm trying to do okay. I did this workshop not okay. You know, it still is what it is, and it makes me very sad. I have been sad crafting. I've made a lot of things. I made this skirt. It's a fun skirt. Look at the inside. The inside's amazing. Made a zipper. No, I didn't follow a pattern. No, I didn't make a pattern up. This thing is just side quest. I'm going to a wedding. Making a red velvet dress. I used the scraps from this workshop, and I made, oh, this is upside down, a pattern that I then made, paper pattern that I then made another dress. I also made Tinkerbell. You can kind of see her. These are on chopsticks. Stay. So, making a lot of projects, not filming any of them, just kind of working through stuff. But I will be back next week. We will be back to working on that crazy avant-garde cone dress. We're going to make some progress on that. And yeah, so thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you guys could be here. And see you guys next week. Bye.